Okay. This is it. I guess. It's happening. I don't have alerts turned on. One moment.
Hey, I know what to do. Here, Miss Langtree, play something like this.
Oh, like this?
Good enough.
2 months already.
Hi. Okay, we're back. Sorry. This podcast is just gonna be me editing it all the out every time I turn around. I do have alerts off though, obviously for reasons. Okay. How is everyone? Kyle, welcome in. Thank you for the 2 months. Obsidian, welcome in. Thank you for the 2 months. Nicola, welcome in. Ashley, good to see you as always, even though I have seen you multiple times today in person. Thank you for being here. How is everyone? We're gonna go through some of these. But first, how was everyone's weekend? I was very busy. We got into I just had a really bad Sunday, but I don't want to talk about it. Saturday was great though. I just played games with my friends, so I really enjoyed it. But David may say it more. I was just playing Sea of Thieves with David for quick 45 minutes, and the amount of that came out of us was a little bit embarrassing. Uh-oh. David, you didn't hear that. Nicola, if you want to play that drinking game, that's fine, but I'm not responsible for how much alcohol you ingest. That would be bad. My weekend was pretty chill. I went bowling, apparently. I'm really good at it. Was this your first time bowling, Obsidian? I played pool a while ago for the first time in a really long time, and it was really bad. Hi, Aaron. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. We're finishing up in Sea of Thieves, so I will lurk for a bit. Well, you can lurk this whole time if you want to, David. Please don't think you gotta be here. It's okay. Okay, there's one thing that I didn't test, so we're gonna test it live. I didn't make sure that my microphone is recording correctly on Audacity. It's fine. So I'm just gonna record. I'm just gonna record myself talking now. I just need to make sure that it's coming through both headphones instead of just one, because sometimes my mic feeds in through one line. I'm just gonna record myself talking now. I just need to make sure that it's coming through. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So we are ready. We're gonna go through a few things though before we start. I haven't played since childhood and had the barriers up, but you nailed it. Okay. Amazing. How are you? So cute. Aaron, thank you. Are we getting any special guests, Nicola? Okay. Here's the thing. I have a special guest that is confirmed. But it's so this picture that we always see. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Let me go to image ad source. This picture that we keep seeing, the podcast. This is not the full first season. This is not the first full season. There are 5 more episodes actually. And I can tell you what they're about. But there's one guest confirmed, and I have not reached out to the other 2 because they make me nervous, and I'm worried that they're gonna say no, and I feel like I would take it personally, so I'm scared to reach out to them. So I want proof of concept before I do, and I want them to be like, oh, I loved your podcast. Then I'm gonna put them in a corner and be like, you want to come on it sometime because I've got a topic in mind. Holly, thank you so much for the 2 months. We don't have alerts on right now. I'm sorry. Our alert box is off. It's done. It's not happening tonight. First thing on the agenda. No alert box. Give your Nightbot a sub later. Put it on your to-do. I will. Absolutely. Okay, so there's 5 episodes here. There are 5 more episodes coming that will be right after these ones. and it is there's going to be an episode about turn-based strategy games. I haven't fully pinned down what I want to talk about with them because I have a couple subjects in mind. But there's this really, really good streamer that I love so dearly, and he said that he would come on it. So, that's not him. How do I do this? It's that one. Go to that one. Jack. That was the first person I asked. I was like, Jack, would you come on a podcast? And Jack was like, I'd love to be on your super cool TV show. So Jack is going to be on at some point. Not Jack. Oh, no. What do you mean? Oh, no. I can't believe you're putting on my arch nemesis. Jack ruined my plan. No, but Jack is such a sweetheart. Jack is like my favorite. Please. Oh, hi, Monica. I don't know if I welcomed you in, Monica. Hi, Monica. Welcome on in. It's good to see you. Okay, so Jack is going to be on for a turn-based strategy thing. I was told I can't be a fan of Jack. It boosts his ego. Yes, that's true. You actually can't publicly be a fan of Jack. You have to secretly be a fan of Jack. But he's not here right now, so we can be fans of him right now. But if he shows up, just clam up. As someone who's met Jack IRL, he's a lot of fun, and I think it'll be a great episode. I hope so, Obsidian. I think it could be the best one, honestly. And then I do want to talk more about diversity in gaming, which is going to be a bit of a tricky topic, and so that one's probably going to be pushed to almost like the end of the season. And then the divide of Gamergate, which is disgusting, and I might cut it. I actually have on my notes ugh yuck next to that topic, so that one might be gone by the end. I might just replace it with something else. And then the subject of, can games be too hard? And it's discussing things like Elden Ring, Sifu. We've seen a lot of like roguelikes come out that have made people mad this year. So talking about that, and then monetization in gaming. And it's a discussion how like money and like monetization in things like YouTube or Twitch or any sort of content creation changes communities. And I want to talk about that. But that's for all in the future, and those are going to have some guests. I have some planned. They're in my mind, and I know who I want on, but again, I'm too nervous to ask them. So now that we're done talking about the topics, okay, info. We're currently recording a podcast live on Twitch. Not currently, but soon. Each episode is only going to cover one topic. This one's going to be a little bit different than probably the rest of them. I think I know who you want to ask. I'll confirm later. You probably do. There's two people in mind. So you tell me. This is the helpful guide of where you are. So if someone comes in partway through, they know where you are here. There should probably be an actual topic of what it is, but you are here. We're just going to move this across the screen. So we're gonna have a couple subjects going on, and it's probably gonna be about 10 to 15 minutes for each subject. And after we get through that subject, there will be a really brief break for me to catch up on chat. If you guys want to comment anything, you can, but you are not obligated to. Please do not feel the need to. Do not. I can just take a peek at chat. Then I'm gonna save my recording so far that I have on Audacity, and I'm gonna drink water, take care of myself a little bit, anything I need to do in between each part. As it says, feel free to leave comments in the chat. They will be read as soon as possible. And thank you for being here. And there is this exclamation point podcast. Does this mean we can't be feral today, Nightmare Queer? You can be as feral as you want to be. Please, I encourage it. I'm just gonna turn down a couple of things here so that they don't interrupt us. Like our system sounds. We're gonna get those out of the way. And we'll make sure the break. Oh! The music just disappeared. Hello? To be honest, I'll be doing yoga in a bit, so I'm not looking at chat. Ashley's like, I'm out of here. Hi, Otter. Looking forward to the podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited. Yes, so chat is unmoderated. All of my moderators are gone. And that's fine. You know what? Because I'm not even going to be looking at chat. So truly, you are unmoderated. You enjoy. Do we want, hold on. I think I can have a little bit of this background going for you guys. if you would like. How do I just turn this up just a tiny bit? I can have a little bit of this music going. Do you prefer the music or do you want just my lovely voice? You let me know. I'm just going to throw in some chaotic random fun facts throughout, of course. Kids born in 2005 will be 18 this year. How does it make you feel? Very old, but that's fine. I already feel old. Okay, well, yeah, the ferals are here. The ferals have truly arrived. I don't know how this is going to go, by the way. This could be really, really bad. So let me just double check that Audacity is only feeding from my mic. One moment, please. Let me just double check that Audacity is only... Okay, that my voice is annoying when I listen to it. But only when I listen to it. Okay, so... you guys can... Yeah, you guys are collectively the ferals. I am literally dragging my chat over you guys, so I don't have to... I'm not even going to see when you post a message, because I'll peek. I'll peek. And then I'll be like, and I'll want to talk about what you're saying, and I know I shouldn't. So we're not peeking. I am dragging my little topics down in front of y'all. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Unless there's anything else you guys would like to share with me, we're gonna get started here, and we're gonna jump right in, and we're gonna be talking a lot about this year and how gaming has affected it. So, okay. Yeah, Twitch chat is just a jungle now. You guys get it out. You get it out. You get it out. It's all there. It's all for you. Okay. Okay. You're gonna be top monkey in the Twitch jungle? I don't know if monkeys are on the top of the food chain, but you can be whatever you want. Here we go. Hold on. One last thing. I'm just pulling this into the exact perfect spot that I wanted here. Okay. I said I was going to give you background music. You can keep it. I didn't lie. Okay. Sorry. I'm very nervous. I'll be less nervous in the future. It's fine. I just spilled water all over myself. You can't really tell. It's fine. It's fine. This is it. This is exciting. Sorry. Okay. I don't have an intro yet, by the way, so you're all just gonna have to suffer with that one. It's fine. That's fine. Every year, I literally started on... This is so bad. I want to do it again, though. You know what I mean? Like, the just keeps coming. Just keeps coming. Okay. Okay, this is serious. This is for real. This is for real this time. This is for real. This is the only part that's slightly scripted, so bear with me. I guess this is the intro if you want one. Every year, the idea of gaming evolves. What started out as nerdy kids sitting around an SNES has morphed into a global industry, connecting people from all over. Ranging from the former Goliath of World of Warcraft all the way to gamifying our walks using apps like Pokemon Go, Pikmin Bloom, or Ingress, gaming has never been easier or more accessible. With the world largely having moved on from stay-at-home orders during the COVID-19 pandemic, the moment of games selling as rapidly as something like Animal Crossing New Horizons has passed. Instead, we are encouraging a flock of gamers, specifically those interested in Stardew Valley-like games, aka cozy games. 2022 has been a year for almost every gamer. Although we are going to be getting into some video game landscape analysis, we can't spend our time together only discussing the bad qualities of 2022. Also, real quick. Is the volume good? Is the volume good on the music? I'm taking a peek at the ferals for 2 seconds. Do you have a timer to keep an eye on topics? Absolutely not, Obsidian. No, this is feral. This is, you guys are feral. I'm feral. Volume is fine. Volume is fine. Perfect. Okay, good. Okay, I can't see you anymore. Sorry. Goodbye, my friends. Goodbye, my friends. So I want to start off talking about some of the better things in the year. I think there was a lot wrong with this year, but there was also a lot of really good stuff. And one of the things that was great, in my opinion, is roguelites, and specifically cooperative roguelites. We don't see a lot of cooperative roguelites sort of on the scene throughout really what would have been the beginning of people enjoying more roguelites. Things like Nuclear Throne or Enter the Gungeon was sort of where we all started. Something like Ship of Fools and Played Up, two phenomenal and really well done roguelites, hit the scene in 2022. And I think it was a great way to bring people more into the genre and the industry. You know, experiencing things like, I just said, every time I say like, I have to pause for a minute. I'm sorry. It's just gonna get me going every single time. Every single time. But those weren't the only good roguelites to hit the scene this year. We had a lot of inspired games as well. We had something like Sifu, which took roguelike elements but wasn't necessarily a roguelike, and that was ended up nominating for Best Indie Game of the Year. And in my opinion, one of the best games of all time, but it's fine. We're not going to talk about that. And we have these games that are available on so many platforms and for so many people. And it kind of becomes like this almost like amalgamation of like, what am I trying to say here? It becomes really like this thing where like, all of these roguelites and all of these things that we really get to experience, and now it's starting to feel like it's an actual genre. And I think for a lot of people, like, we really loved it and it was a really niche thing in a niche community, but now we have the experience and the opportunity to see so many new developers stepping into this zone, and it's really cool to see. We saw it in Hades, which I believe was a 2020 release, maybe a 2021 release. Hades was, I remarked in someone's Twitch stream, I do not remember who it is. I remarked in a Twitch stream though that, you know, why did the cozy gamers all of a sudden like jump into something like roguelikes, like Hades? Because Hades is not an easy roguelike by any means. It's complicated and there are a lot of things to do in it and a lot of management that you have to use. And they said, well, it's because they wanted sexy games. The cozy people came and said, give me a sexy character and I'll play your game. And Hades responded, and they responded very well. And so you have Hades bringing people in, and then this year you also had Cult of the Lamb, and they're the cozy gamers and the Stardew-esque Valley gamers have been branching into roguelikes now. And it's actually, it's quite amazing to see, and to see this growth in the industry, because what everyone kind of was brushing off and thought that, oh, it's just not like that serious of gamers. They're like the Farmville girls now have grown up, right? That's what's happened. These people that have been playing these farming simulators for so many years, probably branching all the way back to something like Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing, all of that, there is a space for them outside of that in gaming, and they're starting to find their footing in playing more serious games, even something like Fortnite, and branching out into first-person shooters. It's very validating, I think, for like a lot of people that, like, you know, they would have been made fun of for being just a gamer girl for so long. And it's validating to see that these people are contributing a lot to that part of the gaming community, and they're starting to contribute in other ways than just, and it's fine. If you just want to enjoy your Farmville games, you just enjoy your Farmville games. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's great. And on that note, you know, contributing more, like seeing people step in different genres. We saw something like God of War Ragnarok, which was the best-selling God of War of all time. They broke some records actually for Sony. I believe they set pretty much all the first-person records in terms of the title that sold the most. to see that so late in a franchise, and especially a franchise that has been rebooted, is first of all phenomenal. That's amazing. That means that you're picking people up midway through the game, right? Something like most of these, there are people who haven't played the God of War 2018 who are now playing God of War Ragnarok, and there are people who haven't played the God of War 1, 2, 3 who are now playing God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok. So they're sort of like all over and like coming in from like all these different areas, and they're starting to bring in more gamers. And of course, God of War won so many awards. They really did, like at the Game Awards. And these are things that, yeah, they definitely should have won. Accessibility, especially. God of War Ragnarok set a new standard in a sense for accessibility. If you look at like the pages and the amount that you have to like filter through of what do you want to do, you want to talk about diversity and accessibility in gaming, God of War Ragnarok is it. And that's a really weird thing to say, I think, for a lot of people. You would expect something like that to maybe be like not in like a RPG action adventure fighting game, but in maybe like a game more like, let's say, Baron Breakfast, right? Like one of the smaller indie titles who has really thought through these things. And instead, God of War Ragnarok stepped up and said, you better watch out. Like, bitch, I'm coming for you. I'm gonna do this now, right? I've got this. But we can't talk about the Game Awards without briefly mentioning Elden Ring. And this isn't gonna be brief, because here's something that I spend a lot of my time talking about how award seasons, it actually does matter when you release your product, whether it is the Academy Awards, whether it is the Game Awards, whether it is the Golden Globes. When your content hits, gives you a better indication of whether your product will do well at the awards show, regardless of the quality of that product. That's why certain movies that want to be pitched for award seasons only launch like in like the September, October era, and they hit all the circuits, they do all the film festivals, and then all of a sudden you've got these weird movies pitching for and batting for the Oscars, when you have something like Pig 2021 starring Nicolas Cage that gets no awards and came out in February, and it was perfect for the Academy circuit. But it's fine. It's fine. Elden Ring, funny enough, I was actually looking up stuff today about this game, released February 25th, 2022. Now, I haven't done the research into this, but it also won most anticipated game in 2021 and 2020, which is something that really blew me away, because I didn't hear about Elden Ring until like 4 months before its release. I am not a Souls-like follower. I'm not like dedicated. I'm gonna play every Dark Souls, every Bloodborne, every whatever. That's not who I am as a person. I have a lot of respect for the game and I really like the games. However, I think it's really cool that a game that is so tough and pushes people so much actually has the opportunity to win something like that, right? And to be put on such a big stage. And I think it's a huge thing for the Bandai Namco studio, despite the fact that they've done so many games in the past and they're a very well-established company. It's very cool to see a lot of these gamers that have been playing Souls-like games actually get to enjoy something like this. Last but certainly not least, on sort of the good side of what happened this year, is a game called High on Life. High on Life is a brand new IP for Microsoft, and it was actually purchased from Google Stadia, which is now being shut down. They were planning to have both The Quarry and High on Life as exclusives, and they purchased them and were working to publish them with those developers. However, Squanch Games suddenly found themselves without a place to publish their newest game. The studio had in the past released a Trover Saves the Universe. Dr. Splorchy presents Space Heroes. Couldn't find any information about that game on the internet. That was a wild dive into a rabbit hole and accounting. But with their latest title, High on Life, it didn't receive the greatest reviews, but it did manage to hit the most played game on Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass has 29 million subscribers this year, which was a statistic released by Sony. But we'll get into that in just a moment. Hold on here. You're in part 2. Congratulations, you made it. If you're still with us, good for you. If not, well, I don't know what to tell you. We're gonna hit that save project button. Actual podcast. I have like 100 actual podcasts here. Actual podcast. Okay. I thought she was gonna say. I thought she was gonna read chat and yell at me. Oh, I'm gonna read chat. I'm gonna read chat. Gaming, let's go. Remember Pokemon Go? I think Pokemon Go is a really good game. Why don't you want to remember Pokemon Go? Hold on. Don't worry about missing stuff or misreading the script. That can always be edited out. Obsidian, I know, but I hate editing, so I just want it to be as perfect as possible. And before all these pauses are scripted and this is just a big 5-head move? Excuse me? I don't think so. I've never touched a God of War yet. I haven't either. I would actually really like to play, though, the new God of Wars. I think they look so good, but I just don't know if I ever have the time. So that's just that. We're going to need another part of this podcast to dissect Christopher Judge's acceptance speech. Yeah, that can be like the post-podcast party, as we're just going to talk about his acceptance speech. Guys, leave me alone. Leave me alone about Nicolas Cage. You knew it was going to be talked about. Elden Ring is hard, but not BS hard, where you feel like you're dying because of something out of your control that isn't skill-based. Yeah, so I actually think that's a really interesting topic, Nicola. I might hit my record for this just to see if I'm going to add this into some other stuff in a second. Hold on. Hi, Cloco. Welcome in. I thank you. Just want to be as perfect as possible. Yeah, I do. I think I am pretty perfect, so... Okay, hold on. Nicola made a really interesting comment up here that I do want to talk about. In something like Elden Ring, like when you have the difficulty level where it's all skill-based and it's not really like... There's a difference between an artificial difficulty, which is when something is put into the game to sort of give you a roadblock or to make it seem like just so infuriating. We've all come across it. It is something that is not balanced correctly. It is a weapon that is overtuned and you have to use only that specific weapon to get by something. It is... I don't want to say it's the puzzles in something like Legend of Zelda, where like you have to specifically use certain things because it technically is a puzzle. But sometimes Legend of Zelda does feel like it has an artificial difficulty to it. Maybe not so much in Breath of the Wild, but in like older games, there's a feeling of that kind of stuff. Like you are not hitting the buttons in the exact precise right moment. So then you end up with this weird difficulty that it doesn't seem like it's supposed to be there. But there are a lot of games, like modern games, that have been tuned so specifically. Super Meat Boy immediately comes to mind. The amount of love and dedication. If you guys have never seen Indie Game the Movie, holy crap. That's one of the best films I've ever seen. Like, I love the best documentary I've ever seen. I don't know if I'd put it in my top films, but definitely top documentaries. And there is a scene where one of them talks about how they were like getting to like the end of the development cycle, and he just like goes into the shower and like lays down and just like lets the hot water hit him until it runs cold and then gets up and keeps going. He's like, we had so much pressure on us to deliver this game and deliver it correctly. But I digress. Getting back to difficulty, something like Super Meat Boy is a difficult game, but whenever you do something wrong, it feels like it's your fault, not the game's. Sifu feels extremely the same. It's a very technical fighting game, but it feels like I've done something wrong when I messed up. And I would say Elden Ring and Souls-like games definitely look the same way. I'm not saying that they are, and it's very easy to blame a game, but it is what it is. Oh, Obsidian's music is so good. Every time Obsidian sends me music, I get really excited. Okay. We're going to jump into part 2. So, when I had originally, like, I'm just going to explain this before because, like, some of you have seen my tweets and have talked to me throughout the day, and I was definitely having a mental breakdown today. over this podcast because I had completely outlined and scripted pretty much everything. And then I realized, I was like, this format doesn't work for Twitch. I was like, I can't go live on Twitch with this. I actually can't. And I don't know what to do. I was like, because I realized it last night at like 9 p.m. at night. And I was so drained yesterday. Like, I had this throbbing headache. I hadn't eaten enough throughout the day. I was out all day. Like, I was exhausted. I was dehydrated. I was angry. And I was just like, what do I do? I was like, I don't have all day I'm out for like half of my day tomorrow. What am I going to do? So I like went and did physio, and I went to the gym today, and then I restructured everything in like 3 hours. I sat down, put my head down, and was like, I have to fix this podcast. I was like, I've completely fucked up. I've completely ruined everything that I was going to do. So, but we made it. We're here. We're here. I had like two and a half hours off to just like lay there and just be like, what have I done? Like, what have I gotten myself into? And we do have, though, sort of these categories that are segmented. And it was supposed to be the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I thought that would be funny. But we're probably not going to do that. Will this be a VOD? Yes, there is a VOD. And you can also wait for the finished edited podcast, which will also be. Yes, please enjoy. Have a lovely sleep. I hope you do. I hope you have a lovely night, Poco. Thank you for being here, even briefly. I remember diamonds are made under pressure, Nicola. I'm gonna keep that in my mind all the time. Okay. Hold on. We're gonna we're gonna hop back into this. I'm just gonna take a drink of water. Obsidian, you asked if I have a timer. I guess like my timer is my Audacity. I don't know. I can like glance up and see how many minutes I've been recording and just go from there. Okay. Sorry, I'm just like bopping along with this for a second. Okay. We can't talk about, though, the good in a year without also balancing it with some bad. And although 2022 had certainly a lot of bad things in real life around the world, global events happening, it didn't have a lot really bad in the gaming industry in terms of games it delivered. There was a lot of drama outside in developer, in the console war hell that we found ourselves in. But games that were being put out, there's probably never been a better time to be a gamer. These things are getting better every year. There's one game that I would like to specifically talk about, though. It is an independent stealth horror game. It is not the first entry in the series. And if I had to explain it to you in just a few words, I would say Disturbia the movie, but instead in a video game. That's right, we're going to talk about Hello Neighbor 2. I don't like this game. I'm mad. That's it. No, that's not it. Hello Neighbor 2 is a very interesting case because I've always been hesitant to speak poorly about the Hello Neighbor franchise because it's an independent game, and it's an independent studio that is scoping very large projects and trying to make very cool things and add a lot to the industry. And they've done it in one sense, but delivering a finished and good product to people on all these different platforms, they have not done. They have failed, and they have failed terribly. The first Hello Neighbor, just to set the stage a little bit, the first Hello Neighbor, which came out, I don't even know how many years ago now. The first Hello Neighbor was completely riddled with bugs. It was easy to completely cheese the puzzles. There is an intended way to do every puzzle and to see every stage, and then there is the way that you could just completely bypass everything. I did do that. I missed huge parts of the game because I just didn't care. I was like, I just want to get out of this living hell. I would like to be done now. But everyone I know who played the Hello Neighbor alpha and betas and were really involved in the community love the franchise and have a big nostalgia for it because they helped figure out these puzzles together. Like they did it themselves. Like, you know, They all communicated and they gathered around and they were like, how are we going to do these puzzles? The first Hello Neighbor did not repeat any puzzle mechanics. It kept throwing new wild stuff at you. And every time I turned around, I did not know what was going on. It's like, this is not something that I've learned or something that I've been taught by this game. And a lot of good game development has to do with intuitive learning and figuring out, how do we teach a player something without throwing them into a tutorial? Tutorials are fine and they have their place. And if that's the way that you want to introduce people to your mechanics, you absolutely can. But if you want to look at the prime and the, let's say the prima donna, no, prima donna is not the right word. If you want to look at like the best way to introduce new players to mechanics, you need to look at the original Mario Brothers World 1-1. There's actually a video where they break down how they taught players that this is how you jump. They made them learn instinctually on the little blocks standing next to each other that you can jump from 1 to 1, and it was safe. So if you fell, it didn't matter. But then all of a sudden they introduced another set of blocks, and these blocks had death below. And so if you missed, you died. And that introduces the concept of you cannot leave the flat road that you're on. If you fall down, you are dead. You start again. And they introduce and layer all these tiny mechanics, and that's super important for small studios to understand, for big studios to understand, for everyone to understand, especially because I think when we make a lot of new games, and well, I don't make games, when other people make a lot of new games, I think a lot of people forget that some people still have never played video games, and we don't all have this rich history of going all the way back to something like the Nintendo Entertainment System or the SNES. We are where we are in terms of gaming. And some people played a few games on the N64 growing up and then never played anything again until the PlayStation 3. And that's totally fine. But then all that learned behavior that you would get from playing games in certain genres is usually not built in. And so certain games are very unfriendly to new players. Now, this is Hello Neighbor 2. This is where this all came from. Hello Neighbor 2, like the first Hello Neighbor, I think should be described as a community experience rather than a game. And I think the really unfortunate thing is a lot of people are going to purchase the finished game rather than participating in the beta and alpha and helping the developers figure out how they want to build everything. So when you look at Hello Neighbor 2, the game was okay. I ran into a game-breaking bug. Didn't love it. If you are good at puzzle games, you'll be done this game within about 40 minutes, I think is the grand total for a lot of people, and it is a $30 game. For me, it was about 7 or 8 hours. I am terrible at puzzle games. Terrible at puzzle games. But listen, like, the game did get better from the first one. It actually improved a lot. And I think that that's what's like really cool to see, is although I'm still angry at the developer's tiny build, and I understand like his whole concept and the studio's whole concept is to build a franchise that will last, we are working on people's nostalgia and trying to sell a game based on like, hey, you really like the first game and you really like the experience. Do you want to do the whole alpha beta thing again? And then we're just going to release this random unfinished game for the world to enjoy. No. I really don't want to do that again. And yet I played it. I played it all. Great points about Hello Neighbor 2 is the developers learned a lot. They learned to repeat things, they learned to teach you slowly, and they learned to bring in sort of everything that we're learning. We've already spent 10 minutes on Hello Neighbor 2, and we've got a couple other topics to get to here, people. Okay, oh my gosh, what is happening? I think you can tell also when I'm planning on keeping audio files and when I'm not, because all of a sudden my volume goes way up here. I get excited. We talked a lot about Hello Neighbor 2. And, well, because I think there's a lot to talk about here. And tacking on to what I sort of said at the very beginning of this Hello Neighbor 2 tangent is we shouldn't be afraid to tell independent developers, you made a bad game. You fucked up. Like, you really did. You need to fix what you're doing. Because these small studios probably need to hear it more than the big studios that can afford to fail a game and then release sometimes another failed game and then all of a sudden get it right. They don't have that backing and that financial availability to them that other people do. So hearing sometimes the harsh truth and the harsh reality of you didn't do a good job, it's necessary. Let's talk about, though, first-person shooters in 2022. What's going on? Let's broaden this up a little bit, okay? Let's talk about first-person shooters in the past, like, 4 or 5 years. Where are they? Because I'm not seeing them. The only thing that I'm seeing releasing are battle royales. Call of Duty Warzone, battle royale. Apex Legends, battle royale. Fortnite, battle royale. PUBG, battle royale. These are all battle royale games that like people want. I understand the appeal and the fun. I play Fortnite regularly. I love Fortnite. I think the no build zone is absolutely fantastic, and they've done a lot to give back to their community. But in something like this, we're also still missing. It's hard not to blame Fortnite for kicking off the battle royales. It really is. It was so wildly popular and so famous, and it still gets all these crazy sponsorships, and kids love to play them. It's hard. It's really, really hard, though, not to miss the days of different modes. Of loading into a Halo game and seeing that you're getting to play VIP, right? What's that audio file? The guy who says, protect the VIP. It was exhilarating. It was exciting. Playing things like Oddball or Slayer or just all these cool different modes that we got in these quick first-person shooter games. I think that's another big difference of it. Sometimes you play a really long Fortnite round, and as like an adult with a job, it's hard sometimes to sit down and commit for that amount of time and be like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And then any sort of branching off from that is we saw Valorant come out, and Valorant released not too long ago. I think Valorant was probably the past 2 or 3 years from Riot Games, I believe. Valorant is, I don't want to say this too loudly, but Valorant is Counter-Strike but worse. That's all it is. Counter-Strike relies a lot on skill and like tactical thinking in a sense. It's the most punishing, by far, the most punishing first-person shooter on the market ever. It's definitely one of the hardest ones to play. And someone took that, made it into a game with like all these crazy wackadoodle superpowers and said, oh, we're good. Check that off the list. That's what we're doing here. And I think it's really hard. It's really hard to look at as someone who loves first-person shooters. I spent so long waiting for Halo Infinite, and although the Halo Infinite mess mostly belonged to 2021, so we'll leave some of that alone, Halo Infinite is nothing like what we were promised. We were promised a Halo that would span like sort of the generations and stick with us for quite a while, and instead we got a Halo where the melee button is like completely ruined. Okay? All they did was they made it so that you did not collide with other players in the game. They made it that you could walk through them. The point of this was they wanted to prevent griefing, and instead what we got is we got a completely ruined mechanic. The punch mechanic does not work well anymore, and it is not good to have that melee mechanic in the game. They've refused to change it. They've refused to add recollision into the game. They will never give us the co-op mode that they promised for Halo 5 and never came out for Halo 5 and now has not come out for Halo Infinite. And we were told that every Halo game going forward would have a cooperative campaign. We have not seen it. I don't think we're going to see it. They kicked out almost all of the high-end staff. They got rid of them. Because Halo Infinite was bad. They basically got rid of them because the game was bad, and they ruined it. They took an amazing franchise that goes all the way back to Halo 1, right? Halo Combat Evolved. Everybody knows this game. Everybody knows the original trilogy of Halo. Halo 3, like, just shivers when you hear that choir singing the whole theme song, right? The way that it ended was so perfect and so beautiful. And then Bungie handed it over to Microsoft and said, here you go. And from there, it just went all downhill. we're starving for a good first-person shooter, and I don't think we're gonna get one in 2023, and I don't think we're gonna get one in 2024. I think it's gonna be like 2026, and someone's gonna say, "I've got this. I can handle this," and that's when either a classic Call of Duty is gonna come out, or like that actually plays really fun and like people want to be with, and it's not a pay-to-win scheme, or I don't know, for some reason Halo Infinite 2 comes out, and all of a sudden we have this amazing, phenomenal thing. I'm gonna stop this so I can save it real quick. We're not done. Okay. Hello. We've got some lurkers in here. It's so good to see. It's so good to see everyone. Thank you for stopping in. Kelly, thank you for lurking. Really appreciate it. I thought you were going to say Stray. Nicola? Ooh. Ooh, the temptation to mention Stray. The temptation is so high. Light emitting doe, don't want to interrupt the recording, but wanted to stop in and say hey. Thank you. So happy. Don't worry, I have the whole chat blocked off. I said, you guys entertain yourselves. You can be as feral as you want. This is what's gonna happen. Jack, thank you for the lurk. Super appreciate it. Glad you weren't here earlier. We were paying you compliments. Load time reduced speedruns are at 1 minute 51 seconds, and real time is 3 minutes and 41 seconds for Hello Neighbor 2. Well, okay, that's that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad, you guys. Okay, we're just gonna move on. We're gonna move on. We're still talking about bad stuff though. I'm a negative Nancy over here, okay? I'm a negative Nancy. Hold on, I'm gonna fix this real quick. Okay. We did talk about Hello Neighbor 2 a little bit, and the broken quality of the game. I would argue that Hello Neighbor 2 is less of a broken game though, although it does have a game-breaking bug that I was very unfortunate to experience. I would say it is less of a broken game and more of an unfinished game. I think it's to be argued that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is in a worse state than Hello Neighbor 2. Ooh, that didn't feel good to say. Didn't feel good to say. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Okay. We're gonna get cozy for this one. Where do I begin with Game Freak? What really happened at Nintendo? I have a lot of questions, actually. This is really going to be, like, talked about much higher length. This will be talked about much higher length in a future episode. You can only guess which one. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, though. So, what has been passed on to me as information, and I'm not sure if this is correct, and I don't really have a way to verify this information, is that Pokemon has a 2-team development cycle going on. And so Team A is, let's say, working on Pokemon Arceus. And while Team A is working on Pokemon Arceus, Team B, so they've split them in half, Team B is now working on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Once Arceus is done development, because we can also talk about Pokemon Arceus and how they did not release a polished game at all. The frames were completely broken on the game. It was a good first attempt at open world, but I don't want to say it was a great attempt. Once they finished that and they decided they were going to launch it from what it was, they shifted them over to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and then some of the team from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has shifted on to whatever the next Pokemon project is. I don't know what it is. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, fastest selling game in Pokemon history. In Nintendo history? In title history? I'm gonna have to fact check that one later. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet sold, if I recall correctly, 10 million copies in 3 days, which I think makes it the fastest selling video game of all time. And God of War Ragnarok, the polished, finessed, up for Game of the Year, sold 5 million in its first week. That says a lot. It says a lot to the power of a name of a game. And I think it just says a lot to Nintendo's power in general. And Nintendo can give us whatever they want to give us, and we'll take it. we'll just buy it. It's fine. I bought Scarlet. I love Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It's one of the funnest Pokemon I've ever played. And that's why it's really hard to talk about it, because it is one of the best Pokemon probably ever made. I think it plays the smoothest, but there are a lot of issues with it. One, you can't make a Pokemon game open world and then not correctly direct someone to where to go next. I've read a lot of theories as to why what happens. One of them is they wanted you to go back to school and you just never do. Like, nobody ever thinks, I'm gonna go do school at Pokemon. That's the reason why I'm playing this game, is to relive my childhood days. I get it, it's a game meant for kids, but Game Freak knows, at least I think they know at this point, that a lot of their child target audience has since grown up significantly. And they are now at an age where they're in their like 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, and they're still playing Pokemon. They're still playing Pokemon. It's a good game. You can make a game that kids enjoy. Look at the old Mario games. Look at Pac-Man. Look at Tetris. Kids liked those games, and so did adults. These are timeless games, and both generations like them. There's nothing wrong with making a game have a bit more challenge, because kids are not bad. Kids are good at games. They have a quicker reaction time and they pick up things faster. They could figure it out. You can't make a Pokemon game that insanely tough. It would be pretty hard to make a Pokemon game that parents would have to like play for their kids or whatever, because their kids are so frustrated. So Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Aside from the frames not working, which was something that Arceus also had, they did not implement an open world correctly. I would have a really hard time believing that the developers went and played other open world games and games that have done it very successfully. Of course, Elder Scrolls Skyrim is an extremely successful open world game. Grand Theft Auto 5. There are a lot of titles out there where they could have seen what to do and improved upon it, if anything. So there are easy fixes. There's level scaling that could have been introduced. I went and fought the ice gym when I was like 15 levels under, and I was like, I chose the wrong gym, because the descriptions that they have for the gyms don't even make a lot of sense. Like, they'll be like, this person's like one of the most powerful, so you're like, that must be the last one, right? It'll say like along the lines of the most powerful. You're like, that's got to be the last gym, or that's got to be the last thing. And then like all of a sudden you're like only in the middle of the pack, and you're like, ooh, why though? What happened, Game Freak? And when you speak to Nurse Joy and ask for information, Nurse Joy tells you where to go next based on your current location. So Nurse Joy's advice works if you've been following it the whole time. If you're like someone like me, you're just screwed over. You are where you are. Accept it and move on. Keep going. You can do it. Go fight some Pokemon in the area, and then you'll know what level you should roughly be. But it's a bit of a struggle. It's a bit of a struggle. I really think like going forward, I have more games like listed there, but I think like I've just talked about broken games for way too long at this point. The thing that I would love to see for the next like year, like 2023, is for the love of everything, push a game if you have to. I do not care. Delay the game 2 years for all I care. 2 years. I just want to see a finished game. I just want to be able to pick up a game, enjoy the game, and not have to go online and talk about all the bugs in the game. That's not something that I want to see. And I don't really think it's an excuse to be like a smaller studio and not have like testers or people like betaing your game. There are so many ways that you can do this now. You can do things like Steam Greenlight. You can do things like, I think even Xbox has early access games now. There are ways to put your games out there and get people to test them and even pay you to test them, rather than just like, woo, woo, woo. I don't know what the woo is. The woo. Okay. Quick break. Compliments, let me make a note check for the VOD. Yeah, please do, Jack. Please do. This is Autumn Alex. I don't usually catch your streams due to being in work. I'm glad to see you. Glad to have you here. Welcome on in. Thank you for being here. Sorry, I don't know why my voice went so high. 2 games being released within 10 months, or well, technically 3. Yeah, that's the thing. Nintendo could literally ship us nail soup and we would be like, yeah, this is so good. I'm so glad you're here. Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave? Jack, get out. Get out. I don't want you here. Okay, chat, are you making feral trouble? No, actually, chat's been really tame. I'm proud of them. Thank you, chat. You say that now, but Nintendo drops something you'd be buying. Yeah. The nails are cute Pokemon shapes. Yeah. I'm really glad that they pushed back Breath of the Wild to Obsidian as well. Like, I think like stuff like that. What the heck? I agree with you about Pokemon. Okay. I know, Jack. I know. I get stressed out. I think you've fallen into the category of people that I think are insulting me consistently now, even if you are not. There's some people here. There's some people here, and I'm like, even if they're like giving me the nicest compliment, they could be like, Elena, you're such a kind person, and I'm like, get out. Why would you say that about me? What's happening? What's happening? He's gonna check the VOD, Ashley. Don't worry. He's gonna check the VOD for the nice little compliments that he got. Okay. Oh, we're waiting for you, Ashley. We need more brain cells to cause feralness. All right, gang. Y'all, it is what it is. Thank you all so much for being here. Oh, I gotta drag the slider. We finally made it to part 3. Okay. How do I bring up my notes? Hello? I found them. I did it. Okay. Part 3 is we're going to talk about serious things here. I want to talk about one of my personal favorite gaming companies. This is a company that I grew up playing all of their games for. It introduced me into like top-down dungeon crawlers, I guess you would call it, into the real-time strategy genre. It introduced me into MMORPGs. It's Blizzard. Yay! Everyone's favorite gaming company in the world. Hooray! I have a lot of questions actually about this one, and one that like I've been rolling around in my brain for a long time is like, what happened here? Because in theory, Blizzard is, from the outside perspective looking in, Blizzard was a company set up for success. They had at the helm, they had Chris Metzen, they had Chris, the other Chris, whose name I can never remember. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. They had these big, well-known guys at the top, and they had made these phenomenal games. And then they were very careful in their hiring process, and they were strategic, and they picked from people who, like, they picked this random guy, I'm pretty sure. It's Ion Hazatokis, who, I hope I said his name right. Ion Hazatokis. I'm not saying he's a good developer. This is not my argument here. They found him, I think, on EVE Online or EverQuest, one of the two. He was actually a raid leader in one of the high-up guilds, and they approached him and said, do you want to help us work on World of Warcraft? This is what we're creating. It went from being this company that literally, like, I would say probably had close to as much power as Nintendo at one point. Like, they could just drop a game and everyone would gobble it up. And people probably still would. Like, don't get me wrong. I think people still play these games and are absolutely addicted to them. But the amount of players they had at peak World of Warcraft, which was over 12 million, it's gone. They stopped releasing numbers at some point. I think at the lowest we saw last, it was something like 2 to 5 million people subscribed, which is still a lot of money. But when you've been at the point and at the pinnacle of gaming and you had all these people and no one saw Final Fantasy coming. No one thought Final Fantasy: A Realm Reborn would be what takes down World of Warcraft World of Warcraft still exists technically. It's not taken down. Nobody thought that would be it. No one thought this little RPG MMO where you play through this cutesy wootsy little story. I don't know the story. I don't think it's that happy. Where you play through this story and you get to play as like this bunny boy. No one truly looked at that and said, that's the threat. That's got to be it. That's the competitor. And out of nowhere, it's like everyone just left. Like the server's emptied on World of Warcraft. They were gone. And this was following probably their best expansion since Vanilla WoW. World of Warcraft Legion, way back in the day. I don't think this article exists anymore. There is a review that I published for World of Warcraft Legion. It was pretty scathing. It was pretty mean. I'm not gonna lie. Coming off of, I think it was Warlords of Draenor right beforehand, coming off of that expansion and having such a bad taste in my mouth for World of Warcraft, I looked at the state of Legion and I said, this is not going to be a good expansion. There's no way they're going to keep people around. I can see the way that it's going to go already. It's going to be awful. I've never wanted to take down a review more in my life. Like, I felt really bad. Because for the first time in a long time, the game was really fun. And we had this cool raid where, like, you went into the Emerald Nightmare and we finally got to see, like, all these things that we had wanted to see for so long. And the developers, like, you can have it. And we had a phenomenal storytelling. To be able to go anywhere on the map that we chose first and do all of the 5 sections in whatever way that we chose. You barely had to read the quest because you were given these beautiful cutscenes that were just absolutely breathtaking and propelled the game forward and the story forward in a state that we had never seen before in World of Warcraft. And they held your hand and they explained things to you, which was good because there's been like, 15 years of lore at this point, 15 plus. We have to take into account World of Warcraft 1, 2, and 3, all of the books, all of the comics, everything that's out there that most people never even get into, every single quest line that you can read out there. Hello? But they held our hand and they said, no, come with us. We're going to tell you a story. And the story slapped. The story slapped so hard. The part where this is I'm just going to nerd out a little bit. Just bear with me. The part where Illidan is up with the Naru and the Naru basically says, like, I can make you whole. I can make you a good person again. And Illidan said, I don't want to be this way. And kills a literal god in that universe. Kills it. And says, no. I'm good. Thanks, though. Thanks, boo. That was their way out, was that Naru and Illidan straight up said, I'm better than you. Phenomenal storytelling. But getting back to the point. World of Warcraft in 2021. In 2021, World of Warcraft was I'm just looking for the best words here. Bear with me a moment. In 2021, World of Warcraft was sued by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, the DFEH. They made this absolutely scandalizing document, and they had spent their time and researched a lot of the standards that Blizzard had for their employees. They discovered a frat boy culture where women had to do a cube crawl on a regular basis, and men just watched them crawl through these cubes. Someone killed themselves because of the work environment there. And when this came out, I think the most shocking thing is that not a lot of people were fired. Not a lot happened. There are still sexual assault cases and sexual harassment cases coming out to this day. I think actually the last one was either December or October of 2022. Someone stepped forward and said, this is what was happening. I'm individually suing the company. They were made fully aware of the harassment that I was experiencing from my direct manager, and they did nothing. Pardon me? Like, it's still coming out. This is like a year and a half later. I don't know how long. I don't know if Blizzard employees are still on strike at this point. I couldn't find that information, but they were on strike for a very long time over this. Men stepped forward after everything happened. There were men stepping forward and saying there are two, one in particular said there are two companies that I've worked for that I could not believe the environments in them. One was Blizzard Activision and the other was Twitch. Sorry Twitch, but it's true. This is what I was told. And he went on to actually work for small independent companies, and he said, like, this was the best decision I made. Like, they're like a family and they actually treat you decently, and you get to do what you love, which is creating video games. But Blizzard's response was not to clean house and to fix the issues inside, which takes time. Okay, it actually does take time, but they should be a lot more transparent than they are currently. Their response was leaking things like the diversity space method for Overwatch. It is a graph that has 6 or 7 different gauges for diversity. I believe it's age, body type, race, culture. Don't know if I can remember any of the others. Accessibility? Availability? No. Something to do with the abilityism or something. And they rate all of these characters internally based on, they want to seem like they're a very diverse company, and they have a lot of forced diversity in these places where they could actually just make really cool characters that are diverse, because they already have super cool characters. Torbjorn slaps. He's so cool. He's like some old German ? Maybe Swedish? I don't know. I don't know. But he's this cool, like, Scandinavian guy who's old. He's got, like, this arm. He's got, like, that's, like, a wrench thing, and a leg that's a wrench thing. And he's cool. We don't see characters like that all the time, and it's exciting to see. And you have so many females on the cast, and, like, characters, like, persons of color. And they're just like, here's our diversity space method, and this is how we figured it all out. And they expected us to think that was a good idea. They expected us when they came out with that, and they were like, this is what we're doing. We were like, yeah, that's great. That's a really good idea. That's phenomenal. You've done so well. Congratulations, Blizzard. Really, truly. You did great. You did great. We gotta save this up. Torbjorn is Swedish. Thank you. Thank you, David. You redeemed a hydrate and a break. Okay. We are taking a break, chat. I have a suggestion. Take a break. What? What is happening? What? Take a break. Take a break. I told you I was blocking all of you. I couldn't see any of this. I couldn't see any of this. I think the Activision Blizzard is where things went wrong. Now the main moneymaker was Call of Duty, and that was mostly focused on. You talk about the greatest game ever made, Bugsnax. Did Bugsnax come out this past year? Thank you, David. She doesn't have chat open while she's doing the podcast, cuties. I super appreciate that. I really like that. Thank you. I did actually love. I really, really loved it. Why did you guys think I needed a break? What happened? Where did I pop off? Oh, I said I was taking a break and I started talking more? Are you kidding me? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to slip away as I have school tomorrow. Of course, Obsidian. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Elena, I'll catch the full VOD tomorrow. Thank you, Obsidian. I appreciate it. Sorry, this has gone like way too long already, guys, but we're gonna plug through. Okay, I'm just gonna stand up and stretch my little legs here. When did I say I was gonna take a break? Who did that? Who said that? That couldn't have been me. I have a lot to say, and like I was nervous at first, but now you guys just have to like deal with this. You have to deal with it all. Okay. I gotta stretch my legs. I'm gonna drink some more water. We'll drink some more water. We're still on part 3. We're not going anywhere anytime. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm sorry. Okay. I like the counter, thank you. That's actually very helpful. That's very cute. Okay. Really, the checklist is, I was thinking before I started this, what is the checklist for this stream? And it is, my watch is off my hand and it is charging, my phone is face down, notifications are off, no distractions here. And then, there's a bunch of cuties in the chat. There's a bunch of cuties. You're all here. Okay. We're gonna keep going. We're still on the it's the ugly phase. What happened in 2022? It is hideous. Okay. Did I say okay enough times? Let me make sure I saved the project. I did. We're good to go. We're ready. I like this. It's a good little jam. I am trusting the person who told me that this is all DMCA free music. If it's not, I'll be so sad. I'll have to just sync up. We just won't have a VOD for this one. We just won't have a VOD for this one. Okay. Any smilers in chat? Me. Okay. Me. It is DMCA free. Yay! We did it. It's right. Thank you, David. That's Game Shop's right. It is. Hecky told me. He was like, he told me to use this. It's very good. It's very good. I like it. It always makes me just like bop whenever I'm in his stream. I'm just like sitting there going like this the whole time. Like I'm ready. I just get snuggled in for his streams. It's so calm in there. I guess we'll have another podcast. What a bummer. Good news, Nicola. Next week we're having another podcast, and it's gonna be so much better because I'm gonna have learned so much. I'm gonna have all my outlines perfect, like set up for this sort of format already, and like they'll be even more in depth. I only had so much time today, so I'm really we're gonna be talking about things. Okay, I'm gonna jump back into this. Sorry. Okay, I made it full screen by mistake and I didn't want it to be. I don't know why I touched this. I feel like I've completely ruined everything now. On top of Blizzard's egregious actions, their lawsuit that they're dealing with, their diversity, their forced diversity that they're attempting, trying to kind of put it on us to see them as a good company, we have, I guess, the new era of the console wars, if you want to call it that. The new beginnings of Sony and Microsoft's ever-growing feud. Has been here for a very long time. Something interesting happened a while ago. Sony decided to release the alleged numbers for Microsoft's Game Pass, who is refusing... No, sorry. I read that a little bit wrong on my notes. I have some notes. Sony released Microsoft's Game Pass numbers. They're currently at 29 million subscribers, which, if true, that means that in 2022, they grew, I think, about 4 million subscribers alone. That's a lot of people using that service. It's a great service. I recommend it to all of my friends, and I think it's a really fun way to try and experience a lot of games that we wouldn't normally play, and it also saves the consumer a lot of money. So Game Pass in the long run is extremely good for the consumer, at least, and I'm not entirely sure how it works for developers, but I'm assuming it's a relatively good deal, otherwise they would not be using it. Sony is refusing to release their numbers for PlayStation Plus, but they are saying that they are considerably behind Microsoft. They are saying they are considerably behind Microsoft's numbers. This is interesting for actually a couple of reasons. One of them being Sony released this during the Activision and Blizzard acquirement by Microsoft drama that's going on. I don't know what to call it, the Acta Microsoft drama. This is Microsoft attempting to acquire a very large company, and they have made several steps to ensuring people that they would not be making a lot of these games exclusives. They just wanted to have them for Game Pass, one of which being a 10-year roadmap for Call of Duty to keep it on several other platforms, which Nintendo has actually approved of and looked at and said, yep, that looks good, and Sony is refusing to accept. Sony has definitely raised their voice a couple of times and has asked the FTC to step in, and the FTC is challenging the acquisition. Microsoft still believes they're going to win, but if Sony has that kind of pull, why would Microsoft just auto win that? Now, one of Microsoft's biggest counter to the argument that is being made by Sony is Sony has a lot of exclusives, and wanting to fuel the fire, Sony has now done what's known as stealth blocking. These are games that were supposed to be timed exclusives to the PlayStation 5 and 4, and I think they're possibly on the PC, but they were not supposed to become part of the Xbox XS series or Xbox One. They were not going to hit these platforms for quite a while of time. They have stealth blocked Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy 16. Is that right? Sorry, I'm just doing the Roman numerals in my head. Final Fantasy 16, Bloodborne, and a Silent Hill 2 remaster from coming to the Xbox. And in turn, Microsoft has responded by making 3 upcoming Bethesda games, likely Starfield, Redfall, and another unknown title. Those are going to be Xbox and PC exclusive. Now, Sony for a long time, we know they haven't been playing nice in the console space. They are the biggest selling console for most generations. The PlayStation 2 knocked everyone out of the water, like just dominated the space, and it's only continued to grow because a lot of gamers who were on the Xbox and perhaps were on the Xbox for the few exclusives that they had and the franchises that were worth considering, games like Halo and Gears of War, those games for a long time have either been done or have moved to Windows or haven't had really consistent releases, and they've also changed a lot over the years. So a lot of players have been moving towards the PlayStation because they also have the opportunity to play with their friends more and be on the same platform. Now, if you look at something like Fortnite, who wanted to do console-wide gameplay, like cross-platform gameplay, let's loop everyone in together, and they wanted to put all of the consoles in together. Sony for a long time, and Fortnite did come out and talk about this, Sony declined. They didn't want to be a part of it. They didn't want to be in on that action, so to speak, and they just weren't playing nice. I think that's the best way to put it. So it's interesting to see that it's a very strategic move on Sony's part to put it sort of on Game Pass. There was a Forbes write-up a number of years ago where Forbes actually was arguing that Microsoft didn't care that the Xbox Series X and S were not selling as well as the PlayStation 5. And the argument basically is that Microsoft is attempting to dominate a different space, and they're going to be using Game Pass to do that. I think they've proven at this point that yes, they were correct. If you look at the PlayStation Plus library in comparison to the Game Pass library, there are huge differences. And one of the advantages of Game Pass is that you can play it both on your PC and your Xbox. And someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can also play it on your phone. I don't game on my phone. I wouldn't know. Hold on. I just want to have this. In an article published by The Verge on December 8th, 2022, the title is "The FTC is suing Microsoft to block its Activision Blizzard purchase." Now, we knew this was a thing. We talked about this a little bit in the podcast, but there's a very interesting quote from it, actually. So Holly Vadova, director of the FTC's Bureau of Competition, said in a statement, "Microsoft has already shown that it can and will withhold content from its gaming rivals. Today, we seek to stop Microsoft from gaining control over a leading independent game studio and using it to harm competition in multiple dynamic and fast-growing gaming markets." I don't know if irony is the correct word in this situation, but I find it extremely funny that this is the argument being made for Microsoft acquiring a company. If the argument was that Microsoft already has a monopoly in several other industries and they're very scared that that is going to happen, I feel like that would have a little bit more traction here. To hear something like that, and you think of things like the Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, right? We're going into these sort of weird niche areas where Microsoft has all these products that supply the need, and that's what you go to, that's what you get. They own a lot of those parts of different industries. That's not the argument that's being made out in the FTC by Sony, by anyone who's involved in this. The argument is Microsoft's holding games for just Microsoft. Xbox has almost no exclusives. One of the only exclusives that came out this year was High on Life. You see, like, actually, this is the argument? What is happening? Anyways, it's fine. It's fine. The article further went on to say Microsoft's frustrations over Sony's objections to its Activision Blizzard deal have been clear. To quote Brad Smith, Sony has emerged as the loudest objector. It's as excited about this deal as Blockbuster was about the rise of Netflix. I think that's a great quote, and I think that's a great way to end that topic, because I'm actually just floored in a sense that that this is what the argument is, and I'll continue to just be shocked by it. I think is I don't think there's a lot of grounds in it, and I don't think it should be dragged out as long as it should. And I think that adding Blizzard and Activision Blizzard games to Game Pass would just, again, benefit the consumer more than anything. I'm gonna take a quick break. We do have a part 4. Part 4 is gonna be a little bit winged. Sony released Microsoft's Game Pass numbers. Feels weird, man. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's super strange that they did that. I actually can't believe that they did that. Is part 4 releasing the feralness of chat into your opinion? No. Indeed, you can play Game Pass on games on Android devices. It's streaming, of course, the games are not running natively. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, it's really interesting that is even like a part of Game Pass. You can tell that like Microsoft wants to basically just be like, you can play our games, you can play them anywhere. Just play them all the time. Please play our games. Please play our games. Anyways. Part 4. What the frick I want to see in hold on, I should record that. What the frick I want to see in 2023, part 4. Okay. There's not that was really awkward because none of the other parts had a part. I can see chat now, so please don't distract me. I beg of you. Was that not a long enough break? Okay, hold on. I did say break. I thought I braked enough. Well, I paused my recording. I'm going to stretch my toes. I stretched to my toes, not stretch my toes. I was told by my physio today, do some lunges. Absolutely not, Holly. It was leg day at the gym. We're not doing lunges. That would hurt. I was told by my physio though that my sciatic nerve, the flossing in my sciatic nerve is like, it's going well. Like my leg can almost straighten out completely. So, because I told her, I was like, I thought my leg was supposed to be like straight up to like parallel with the ceiling. And she was like, what? Who told you that? And I was like, I just thought that was what was happening. You told me to get it straight. Yeah, that's right. I can do the floss now. Do some dolphin dives. I don't know what dolphin dives are, Nicola. You're gonna have to give me some advice. Okay. Is this a long enough break? Can we jump into part 4? I'm amped. I'm ready. You know how dolphins dive when in the water? Just do that, but on land, no. That sounds like a really bad choice. Like that sounds like I'm gonna smash my hands into the floor and my skull into the floor, and I'm gonna be sad, and I'm gonna potentially be dead. Do mountain pose, put hands together and do dives down towards forward fold. Oh! That makes more sense. I've got a visual for that. I think I could do that. Yeah, we could do that real quick. Okay. We can do one of these. Mountain pose is the standing one, right? Hold on. Okay. The standing one. I got my little slipper socks on. I'm comfortable. Do they go up above my head and then I go down? Like this? Or is it like a from here down? She does dolphin, but no lunges. Shake my head. My legs are so sore, Holly. Like all the way up. Okay, and then down. Okay, so hands here, all the way up. You can't see that I'm going all the way up, and then down. What? I went on my tiptoes. I don't think I was supposed to do that. That was actually kind of comfortable. I like that. Okay, Tribbin, hi. We are doing a podcast. We're at part 4. We're at the end. I was told I didn't take a long enough break though in between the parts. Tribbin, welcome in. We've been talking about the state of gaming, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what we did like, what we didn't like. I mostly just yammered on and everyone listened to me for a really long time and it was good. I like the attention. Happy birthday, Tribbin. You took 10 seconds. I don't know, it felt like a long enough break. You guys didn't say a lot, so I was like, all right, we'll move on. You make sure you save this project. Okay. You said take a break and then talked. Sorry for paying attention to what you're saying, Alana. Nicola, you better be. Fribbin, welcome in. I love having you here. Okay. What is that? What does that redeem, Fribbin? I don't know what that is. I show you my current model, work in progress, painting and building. Ah, yes. Okay. Yeah, we can do that quickly. Okay. I put a bunch of redeems on Fribbin and I don't know what any of them are. You don't know your redeems? No, I don't. I forgot what I put on. It's been a while. It's been over a month. Okay, so this is we're gonna talk about current build and what I'm working on, model and painting. Nobody redeemed this within the next like 3 months because it's gonna be the same thing. Just as a heads up. Okay. So current build. I don't have anything painting that I'm working on. I will give you an example of something that I've painted in the past. I do a lot of creatures. This is a Dungeons and Dragons, a dragon that I did, a bronze dragon. He's all right. I was very proud of him at the time, and I still am, but there are a few like details like his wingtips that I think I could have done a lot better and I should have cleaned up a lot better, but I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about under highlighting on this model, so I think he actually turned out like pretty well, especially particularly in the wings and down towards the spine. You want to eat him? That's weird. That's a little weird, Fribbin. And I do humans. You're probably not going to be able to see the detail. I have been working on my humans for quite a while. You're no way you're going to get the detail on this. This is a wizard. I have a whole set actually of adventures that I have given the same scheme because I thought that would be cute and funny. There's a paladin here. See, they've got the same color scheme going on. They're all a bunch of blonde himbos. And I've been working on my skin a lot and it really smoothed out on the sorcerer, so I'm actually quite proud. But I don't have any painting models on the go right now, but I do have a model that I've been building for probably at least a year. That's really embarrassing to say out loud. This is the Judicator. He's my first big mini. I have been having a lot of trouble gluing him and putting him together. As you can see, he's missing his arm still over here. I'm gonna have to put that on overnight to glue at some point. And then he also has cannons here that have been super glued. These little, can you see those? There's little flaps that sort of jut out from these tiny beams that I put in as well. You can see them there a little bit more. And I have to finish gluing those on, but it's a little bit of a thing. Once I'm done that, though, he's actually all glued and put together, and I can prime him and get ready to paint him finally. And this guy's just missing a sword, but I couldn't figure out how to get it to go on correctly, so it's just a man without a sword. But his sword is on my desk, and he also needs to just... That's literally the one part I have to glue. You love flaps. All right. All right, let's... Thank you for loving flaps, Ribbon. I don't know what to say to that. Okay. We're gonna jump in. We're gonna get these last few minutes done, and then we can do all the chatting that we want. Okay. So part 4, what I would personally like to see in 2023. We touched on these subjects a little bit throughout the podcast tonight, but I think getting developers to the point where they're publishing finished games would be my number one. I think that's my biggest ask right now from the gaming community, is that we are just getting finished games. I think there are a couple ways to achieve this and to get to this point, one of which would be everyone needs to stop pre-ordering. Everyone needs to stop pre-ordering games. When you pre-order a game, you are telling this developer, hey, no matter what, I'm gonna love it, I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna eat it up. Most places don't have a refund policy. Steam, I think, is one of the only places where you can actually get a refund, maybe on the Epic Games Store, but I'm not sure of the restrictions there. We can't tell the developers we hate the game, basically. That's a problem. We need to be able to give more open feedback and get developers earning our money. We are in a capitalist society. We are in a capitalist society, okay? Your money speaks all of your opinion. If you purchase something that is not completed, you're telling them that's okay. When I purchased Pokemon Scarlet, I told Nintendo, it's okay, you gave me a crappy Pokemon game. I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna enjoy it, I'm gonna play it. Things like Kickstarter doesn't help. You know, we're not going to talk about Kickstarter. Kickstarter is like completely irrelevant at this point. It's fine. It's done. It's gone. We don't need to talk about Kickstarter. I just really want to. Something like Steam Greenlight or an early access game, when you purchase them, you're saying, hey, I'm okay with this broken game. They actually give you warnings, I think, on the Xbox early access purchase that you have to be okay with the state that the game is currently in. Are you okay purchasing a broken game? And if the answer is yes, then all the power to you. Go buy your broken games. I want something polished. I want developers to either take features out. In the case of Banjo-Kazooie, I think maybe Banjo-Tooie, they took out a cooperative feature that they knew they couldn't finish in time because they were not allowed to push the game anymore. So either take out your broken features, don't give them to us, tell us, sorry, they were broken and I didn't want to push this game again. Maybe I'll add it in a future update. We are at the point now where people can give us and provide us with updates, or you need to push your game. These are the two solutions that I'm seeing here. Developers, like, please. It's all we're asking for. It's all we're asking for. I think there is a huge need as well in 2023 for a proper first-person shooter to come out. I would love to see an updated version. I'd love to see an updated version of Halo Infinite where our blocks work correctly, where we can melee, we can have a good time, we can have some fun. Or just any other company, really. Please, someone. I'll take a Call of Duty at this point. I will take a Battlefield. Please give me a non-pay-to-win Slayer type mode with things like Oddball, VIP, Capture the Flag. That's all I want to see. King of the Hill. That's all I want to see. Call of Duty isn't releasing until 2024, Nicola. No Call of Duty. No. I never thought I would say this, but I think Call of Duty actually needs to get their butt in gear and release some more games, because we don't have any options of any, like, no, I don't want a battle pass. I want to pay full price for a shooter, no battle pass, no DLC, just that. You can give me a map pack, that's fine. I think map packs sort of kind of eventually ruined the industry, but it's okay. It's okay. We don't need to talk about it tonight. We can talk about it another night. We've already been talking for like an hour and 40 minutes. It's okay. It's okay. Non-broken games, first-person shooter, and I would just really like to see a little bit of accountability for developers, and I think journalists as well. One of the reasons why I'm starting this podcast and why I want to talk about these things is because I don't think journalists are doing their jobs anymore. And I think that's a huge problem. They aren't stepping up. They aren't making interesting features like they used to. There used to be some really cool stuff that came out. And even if it was just talking about like the history of these games, it was either Polygon or Kotaku made this absolutely phenomenal, like, this is the history of Mario, and it was interactive and you could scroll and there were all these cool graphics and we really saw all these amazing things, and we just don't get stuff like that anymore, and nobody wants to speak up and do these things for tons of reasons. I think one of them is still the lasting impacts of the Games Journal Pro List and Gamergate and everything that happened there, and I don't think that's going to go away for a long time. So I think it is up to content creators on different platforms, things like TikTok, Twitch, YouTube. They need to speak up and start talking about everything that's going on in the industry, because until we do and we start having these conversations and actually trying to benefit from them and make an impact with them, it's just not gonna. Okay, that's it. That's all I gotta say. You are I don't know how to make that like stretch across the screen. You are big. Okay, no, let's not lie. That's all I have to say in regards to this topic. This specific topic. Speaking of pre-ordering, the Harry Potter game is the best-selling game on Steam right now. I did see that, David, and honestly my thought was not this. Immediately not this. J.K. Rowling is going through her villain arc, and I think like the really interesting thing about the Harry Potter game is it actually looks super interesting, like very, very cool. But like you also are like, I shouldn't play it. I shouldn't order it. Like I shouldn't do these things. Slay. Thank you, Jack. Thank you for the slay. First episode done. Done here. I still have to go and edit it. I have to listen to my own voice. Disgusting. Who wants to listen to their own voice? That's nasty. J.K. Rowling already made enough money that the game will probably be nothing. I think so. I think most of the game revenue will probably go to the developers. Yes, I agree. I think probably most of it will go to the developers, and I think if I were to ever play something like the J.K. Rowling game, I would make sure like off stream on Game Pass only. I don't know how Game Pass revenue works. That's something that I'm actually really interested in going and looking up at some point. Don't you want to record a thank you for slurping and see you cutie pies next time right now? Is that going to be the outro to this podcast? Is that what you want, David? Okay. I need to compose myself. That's not the outro for Ben I Refuse. Thank you for slurping this week's episode, and I will see you cutie pies next time. That's the outro. That's what we're going with. Inspired by Yes, David. I've never felt more alive. I'm so glad you feel that way, David. The entire storyline is an anti-Semitic trope, so regardless of JK or herself, yeah, Nightmare Queer, I agree. And that's why it's just kind of like, I don't like, again, it actually just genuinely looks like they've done such a good job with the game, and I think that's like the worst feeling part about it, because it's like, it's just, if you could rip apart the story and restructure everything, fix it all, and then just like separate Harry Potter from it, I'd be like, yeah, I want to play that. I want to play that game. I'm ready. Okay. Game Pass revenue works in the way that depending on how much of the game you play is how much your Game Pass is going to be paid to that developer. How does that work? Like, because if I play like have 200 hours on Game Pass a month, does that mean that like each game gets like 2 cents or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like if it was like evenly scattered, that's really, really bad math, but you guys know what I mean. Hi, Anvilator. Welcome on in. How are you doing? You missed the podcast, Anvilator. What are you doing? What are you doing? This should, is there an end? End. I don't mean to shame you, Anvilator. I'm sorry. That was very mean. That's not shame, Anvilator. How are you doing, Anvilator? Oh, you just came home? How was your trip? I assume the games get paid money on how much they are played. That's kind of how I would think it goes. But yeah, like I said, like there are so many choices, and it does feel like, again, like what I am hoping the way that Game Pass works, how I am hoping Game Pass, I read that message for a bit. How I am hoping Game Pass works is they have like a deal with the companies where they pay them a certain amount of money for having them on the servers for a certain amount of time. Because I like, it would just feel really like yucky in a sense, like if the developers got no money for having anything on there. Like if I don't know if that makes sense to everybody, but Fribin, you need to not do that. You need to sort yourself out first. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, before everyone goes, because I don't think we're going to be playing a game. I've had a very stressful day today. I think we are going to probably raid into someone shortly. But before everyone goes, this is my concept. Okay, so basically, I need to say two things. At some point, my mindset changed, and I don't know what happened. Like, so we remember I streamed last year. If you don't, you do now. You remember I streamed last year. And I was like really like hitting the books, I guess, in a sense. Like I was reading all about like how to be a good streamer, and I was like contributing to social media and like doing all these things. I made TikToks, I did all the video editing, the audio editing, etc. I really hated it. I don't know why I kept streaming. I thought it was like just awful and not fun, and I was growing consistently, and I was just like, I don't like it. Like, I don't want to be here right now. I don't want to be doing this. I remember talking to David. I think we were playing Minecraft, and this was very early into our friendship. And I said at one point, I was like, do you like streaming? And he was like, oh, I love it. He was like, I love it so, I look forward to it all the time. And I was like, yeah, I hate it. I was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. He's like, then you shouldn't. And so I stopped. I actually stopped. I was like, okay, we're done. Yeah, the Minecraft era. I was literally telling my sister today the Minecraft era of the Yes Friends was one of my favorite eras, because I would just like go on to Discord and like see everyone like sitting in the little voice chat, and I thought it was so cute, and I do really miss it. It was very enjoyable. But so the whole like David told me to stop, and I did stop, and I stopped for a long time, and I just came back in December, obviously, and I've been having such a good time with it. Like, I don't know what happened, but like at some point I was like, I absolutely adore this. Like this makes me feel alive to be hitting the go live button. Like I'm really, really enjoying it. I would not be here if I wasn't. But there was some point like in the past like few days where all of a sudden like my mindset shifted from like, I think like I make pretty good content, and I'm glad that my friends come by and they enjoy it, and I really like being supported by this community. It's so lovely that everyone does support me here. And it shifted from that to like, I think I could be one of the greatest Twitch streamers ever, and my content is better than most of the top Twitch streamers, and I'm going to kick ass, and I'm going to make this so fucking professional, and I'm gonna one day be the #1 Twitch streamer. How did that happen? How did we go from I'm just really enjoying this and hanging out with my friends to like in a few days being like, I'm gonna be the top streamer on the platform? I don't think it's a good mentality, Anvilator. I think it's a terrible mentality, and I'm gonna be met with so much like negativity in my life by like if I make this a goal, I will just be so down on myself. But it's like to the point where I'm like, next year, like if I'm still doing this next year, I'm gonna do nothing on Winterbit stream. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push as hard as I can on Twitch, and y'all are gonna be here for it. You're gonna live for that era. That's gonna be the Fatlegschickenboy era. Like let me tell you, Elena's gonna go live, and I ain't gonna stop all day. I'm have like cool things. I've got cool things planned already. Okay, I've got great things planned. I don't know, like it was just so random. How's my alerts are off, Holly. Hold on. I can make an alert box temporarily. How do I do that? I don't know if I can replay it because my alert's completely off. Can I just go to the live screen? Yeah, I can. I can't. It's not here. It's not in the mini feed because the alert box is gone. What the hell? What if I just make me like super big? Like right here. This is what we're doing now. This is what we're doing. This is fine. Okay, yeah. Elena's gonna forget us next year. Yeah, Anvil. No, Anvil, you're gonna be in my inner circle, right? Like that's the thing. Like I'm gonna just like get like so big and so popular and have an inner circle. Thank you for the gift subs, Holly, though. You really didn't need to do that. You got some real cuties in there, though. You got Jenny, Mushbloom, Hecky. I love Hecky so much. Thank you for that, Holly. You really didn't have to. I super appreciate it. I am disappointed, though, that you didn't get the notification because I have a new one. I think it would have triggered for more than, like, when people do more than one sub. Anyways, yeah, that's so wonderful. It's important to take care of yourself first. I'm glad you took the break, but I'm glad you're back on the platform. Holly, I really needed the break. I was not doing hot this past year. I had literally no energy after like I was done my day job, and I'm hoping to restructure, and I've spoken a lot with my boss about how I would like to restructure it and how she would like me to restructure it, and we're going to look at perhaps maybe doing better things for me. Elena, you're literally my most favorite person ever. You're kicking ass. Forbin, you are one of my favorite people. Like, honestly, I look forward to Forbin's messages all the time. Forbin, I already recommended a collab, remember? So, I've beaten you to that boat. Anyways, my dear, dear friends, I want to thank you again so much for being here. This podcast was really putting myself out there, and it was very scary for me because, to me, people have told me a couple of times, they're like, I come to your streams, and the reason why I come to your streams is because I like to hear you, like, when you stop and you talk about, like, larger concepts in gaming and what you do and, like, how these things have, like, been impacted by other games, and you just launch, like, this weird historical lesson. That's, like, half true, half not true. They're like, we really like when you do that. And I always heard that, and I was like, okay. I was like, that's the content I like making, but, like, I thought nobody wanted to hear that, so I try to avoid doing that. And I think you'll, like, notice, like, sometimes when I'm playing games, I'll be like, okay, I'm sorry, I have to play the game. But, like, in reality, I don't actually have to play the game. Like, we could just be, like, hanging out, and, like, we have a game on in the background, and I really like the vibes of those streams. But it was really like putting myself out there, and I said this to a couple of my friends earlier today who were helping me in like a co-working space, basically, because like on Discord, because I was like, I am terrified I'm not gonna get this done. I need to steal like Kyle's idea of just like sitting in Discord and you all have to watch me work. And they came and watched me work and like chatted with me and like kind of walked me through some of it, because there were big panics going on. There was huge panics going on, and a lot of it is definitely because like this is the content that people like to see, but I was very specifically sitting down and saying, for 2 hours, this is the content you're getting, and that's all you're getting. All we're going to do is talk. We're not going to play a game. We're not going to have any distraction. It's just going to be us talking. And like, that's very nerve-wracking, right? Because that's like putting your personality and your ideas and your opinions and everything just like on such big display and saying, do you enjoy this content? Because like, if you don't, get out, I guess. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, that's a lot of what I have to say. So I super appreciate the support of people being here. And we did it. We got through the first podcast, and I think the next ones are going to be a lot more exciting, because I think it was important to talk about the state of gaming as sort of like a baseline of like what the opinions are, and almost like a preview or an intro to what is going to be happening this year, because we'll be talking a lot about different things and different roguelikes. So next week we're going to be talking about nostalgia in gaming. How that affects sort of what we buy, what we don't buy. I'm gonna be honest, I've done preliminary research on it, and there's literally 0 scientific studies on this, so we're gonna be just chatting, just hanging out. But yeah, I really, again, it's really like is coming from my heart. Like, thank you so much for being here. For affiliate in this stream, this is devastating, David, but like, I actually do just like really like him. I'll try to make it next week. Don't worry, Anvilator, that was completely a joke, and I felt very bad for saying it once I did. I felt so bad for saying it once I did, so I did not mean to. This was wonderful listening, Jack. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. I can't wait to listen to the edited podcast as well. both. You want to listen to both? Okay. I'm gonna find someone to read now. You can. I haven't gone and said hi to this person in a while, so I'm gonna go hang out in his chat for a little bit, I think, because I am feeling very like I just need to like sit and stare at the computer screen for even longer. Does that make sense to everyone? Haven't said hi to this person in a little bit. Let me make sure that he's not about to end, because I think he's been live for quite a while now. No, it just looks like Feralocity in there. Okay. Did I do that right? Did I type in? I don't think I punched in the right thing. Raid. I did it. Okay. Okay. Rager Brian is absolutely lovely. He is a bit of a frat boy though. But he's playing Breath of the Wild for the first time. No, Fribben, don't use that. Don't. Fribben. Fribben. Okay, yeah, fine. If that's what you want to do, you guys can. You're feral here. It's fine. Anyways, thank you so much, everyone. We're going to be live tomorrow, and we're going to be playing probably Choo Choo Charles, so